I am Ibrahim Toure. I am the Executive Secretary of the Produce Marketing Corporation of Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is a small producer of coffee compared to Ivory Coast. Coffee was brought in by our colonial masters, the British, around 1930. And since then, the country has actually made progress, except for a small period of 11 years when that progress was checked. But I'll come to that later on. Basically, we produce about 15,000 metric tons, that is before the war. But after the war, this level has been cut down to something like 33%, that is 1/3 of the original production. Now, production is mainly done through our growers, small farmers, small farming holders who have about 2 to 5 acres, and they depend mainly on coffee as their main means of sustenance. So that's why when, in fact, the war came, most of the people had to abandon their plantation. It was a very difficult period for them. Now, the production of coffee actually was affected by 3 major events. First of all, the slump in the world market price actually affected the production level. That really discouraged farmers. A lot of them decided to abandon their farms and engage in other activities or planting other cash crops. The other issue that affected production in the country was the war. The war came and a lot of the plantations were devastated, and this caused a lot of problems for us. And the third factor is the age of the plantations. Most of the plantations in our country are past the age of 60 years. They've passed their economic bearing stage. Although before the war, the government tried to correct that situation by getting some loan funding from the World Bank to do some massive plantation. Had it not been for the war, the level of production would have moved up to something like 30,000 metric tons. But because of the war, that entire program was reversed. In fact, like I told you earlier on, we are producing not more than 6,000 to 7,000 metric tons as of today. Now let me come to the regulatory functions, which I think you'll be interested in. Now, the company I represent, that is the Produce Marketing Company, is a body set up by the government, really. It was set up to regulate the produce trade. And in regulating, we look basically at the following functions. First of all, we look at the quality. The quality, we try to do that through farmer sensitization, through training of farmers, and also people who are working with farmers, like the agents and things like that. We also try to come in the areas of pricing. Now, at the start of the season, normally what happens, we come together, and when I say we, I mean the price review board comes together, and then they look at the world market price, and then look at what is happening in the neighboring states like Liberia and Guinea. We know what their prices are, and then we try to give farmers an indicative price that you should not be paid less than this or less than this amount. Basically, we try to fix our price at 60% of the world market, FOB world market price. That's what we advise that farmers should receive, and we make sure that at least agents and people who buy from farmers pay that. The other area we try to look at is at the marketing. We also help new exporters coming in to find markets for them. We introduce them to the business and then find market for them, find buyers in Europe or in America, and then we even try to teach them the rudiments of export and things like that. Basically, that's what we do in the regulatory board. More recently, we have added to that function What we do, we advise them on finance sources, how to get finance from the banks, how to get finance from other financial institutions, at least for them to be able to get money to buy and sell to exporters. That's what we do. But before I end up, I must